Awesome. Right. Good morning. As everybody is joining us, we'll give everybody a chance to get in and say hi. It'd be really good as you're joining this morning if you can pop in the chat, say hello, and just what's drawn you to today's webinar, please, and then we will get started in a second.
Sounds
Very quiet this morning, chaps.
good.
Maybe I should have asked them to tell us a joke instead, or ask us why we're doing a webinar on Friday the 13th. How many people are suspicious about Friday the 13th? Love that. Okay. We did have a hand up, but they've dropped it. So just playing around with the buttons. That's cool as everybody gets used to what's going on. So hopefully you should see at the bottom of your screen a chat box or a Q&A. So pop in the chat box, say good morning, what's drawn you to today's webinar? Okay, still a couple coming in, but we'll get started. It's my intro first before we get on to the guys and the really important stuff. So good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to welcome you to this webinar, Mastering Lead Generation in Financial Services. So I'm going to kick off, first of all, with just some introductions and some positioning for the webinar. But first, like a couple of housekeeping points, just to make sure that you either attending or viewing later get the most out of this webinar and the super gents that we've got on the call with us today. So I've mentioned at the bottom of your screen, you should have a Q&A box, you should have a chat box. You can use either of those to drop in any questions, comments, and feedback, absolutely welcome. We will go through some planned content to begin with, and then at the end, we'll open it up for questions via that method. If you're watching the recording, there is some contact details at the end where you can contact either the Financial Planning Club or LeadCrowd and ask your question via that route. And if you've already been super keen and submitted a question on registration, we've either included the answer in the content that's going to come through, or we will answer it in the Q&A session at the end.
I've just enabled chat for everyone as well, Amanda.
Oh, super. Thank you very much. That's great. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that. Sorry, Andy. That's a good start, isn't it? I should know voices by now.
You were right the first time.
I've also got a hiccup on the slides. So here we go. This is how we roll. This is because I mentioned the Friday the 13th, isn't it? Apologies, folks. I'll be with you in a second. I'm going to do it this way. And then I know what's going on. Let's cheat and let you see some of it. So, right, back in the room. So to kick things off this morning, I'm your host today, Amanda Ford, co-founder of the Financial Planning Club. My experience prior to joining the Financial Planning Club was 20 years at the Tenet Group in the network. I covered various roles, events, training, recruitment, but most recently, my position was managing director of two of their appointed representative national businesses. One was an employed advisor model and one was a self-employed advisor model. My experience with lead generation, and I name myself a bit of a lead gen geek, was supporting in particular our self-employed advisors with finding leads and how to qualify those leads. And trust me, we spent the best part of 18 months trialing, reviewing, testing different lead suppliers, different ways of working with leads to work out which was the best route for us, our advisors, and our processes. So hence, I've absolutely invited LeadCrowd, formerly known as Echo Ads, along today, and based on our previous really positive experience of working with them. A quick introduction to the club, the Financial Planning Club. So I just wanted to take a quick opportunity. We are new to the market. We are really excited to be out there sharing our proposition with the financial services industry and IFA business owners in particular. So our mission, as on the screen, you'll hear me use the words connect, collaborate and empower quite regularly. We really want to help business owners grow their businesses effectively, efficiently, build value, but most importantly, at the heart of what I do is that you love what you do on a daily basis. There's a couple of ways to get involved in the club currently. So we have our free community for individuals within the FS industry. So whether you're a paraplanner, operations manager, IFA or mortgage broker, we have WhatsApp communities. The chat is constant on those groups of people sharing best practice, good ideas, that troublesome case, how do you get it through, which lender do I approach with this? So really valuable. So it's absolutely our give back to the industry to create a way that people can just converse at pace and feel supported. Other things, obviously, our programme of webinars such as today, our podcast series, we've got a new one coming out next week with business owners. And then we've got access for people that are training and going through that qualifications process. So whether you need study materials and groups of support there. But most recently launched is our club subscription, which is aimed at IFA business owners. So it's a real consultancy over a prolonged period of time. So it's a 12-month commitment. But what I love about that is we're not coming in telling you what you need to do, making suggestions for improvement, and then leaving you to it. We're absolutely going to handhold you over that 12-month period to deliver your business goals and what you want to achieve, and all the changes and pivots that you might need to experience over those 12 months. We're there with you on the journey. Couple of shout outs on here. So to enable us to do that and to deliver that program, we're working with some fantastic, this is a growing list of collaborators. So whether you're looking for support in reviewing your technology, assessing your cybersecurity, your marketing, your recruitment, or your overall proposition, we have a collaborator for you. And as I say, this list is growing every day. So super exciting for us and for all the people involved in the club. Okay, so bringing us now onto the content, onto what you've joined us for today. So I'll kick off with here, what you can expect to hear. So I'm going to stop talking shortly and hand over to Lee and Andy, and they're going to give an intro. I'm going to throw them a curveball question to get us started. And then they're going to talk about the journey of LeadCrowd, what makes them different, how they generate those leads, handling practices. I know that's always a key question I get, and some qualification tips, how they get support. And then, as I say, we will open up for questions at the end. So this is not a game of spot the difference to get us started. We do have a brother partnership on the call with us today, and I wanted to throw them an off-topic question to get them started, and then I'll let them properly introduce themselves and get into the true content. But there's many family businesses, you're a brother partnership. How do you guys make sure you work together seamlessly and don't cross over that family, home, work environment? Over to you.
After you, Andy.
After me, setting boundaries right at the very beginning. That's the best thing. If you're in business with family, you've just got to do it, really. And it's understanding and not pushing those boundaries as well. And yeah, just respecting each other as you normally would do, to be fair. And business is business, family is family. And you just got to remember to separate, really.
Good answer. Good answer that.
Yeah, I think we work wellish. No, we work very well together. Like, I listen to what he says, he listens to what I say, and you can't really ask for any more. And there's always a reason to, if there's a good enough reason to ask what we're asking, it gets taken on board, really, and discussed. So unless you think different.
Sounds a really sensible answer.
I can always get mum involved, and then we'll see.
Yeah, we have a strong mother. Who would tell us off.
That's the key.
We're good.
Super. Thanks, gents. Right, look, I'll let you get into your expert subject. I will stop sharing somehow.
Okay,
so I thought I'd open it back up. Let's get it back open again.
I'll let Andy do an intro first about what he's up to, and then I'll probably just take over.
Yeah, so I mean, introduction in terms of obviously lead generation and our background. My background is I was an estate agent for a number of years. I was the ones hassling you for valuations and updates, and literally just had enough, fancied a change, and Lee needed a position filled, and it fit my skill set, really. And that's basically how I ended up here 7 years ago, nearly.
Yeah. So I'll give you my background has been in financial services for 18 years now. Always been in mortgages, protection, equity release. I've ran my own directly authorized firm for the last 12 years, called Echo Finance. We don't hide that. We're not just a lead generator. We work these leads day in, day out ourselves. That's how I got into lead gen. We used to buy leads from PAA leads, who were Money Supermarket back in the day, and loads of other dodgy lead providers over the years, and it had enough in the end. So my background is very much running a directly authorized firm with my business partner. I take care of our head of compliance for one of, I'm sure I've got a technical term on the FCA register, but you find it on there, you'll find what I do, SM16, I think it is. And I take care of everything process, system related, and my business partner takes care of the sales side of this thing. Albeit I've been in financial services sales for 18 years now. I've worked these leads day in, day out myself, and I've trained all of our staff over the years to do it, and we have the best part of 36 advisors as a directly authorized firm right now. We talk about that directly authorized firm, Echo Finance, pure and simply because that's how we got into lead gen. And if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. And that's one of the things that I say a lot to people who we discuss, partners who take our leads, who are just getting into it. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. But the best leads you can getting straight to it, are always going to be your own referrals. Personal introductions, referrals, existing customers, they're always going to be better than web leads, without a doubt, because they're easy to convert. They already know you probably. And but you can only go so far with those type of leads. And if you want to take the next level, then you have to get into lead gen, or you have to buy leads from people. But maybe you've got a better skill set. My skill set is in marketing and compliance and regulation. I think that goes with it as well. And that's ultimately how we got into leads and how we got into lead gen in the same breath as well. LeadCrowd has we renamed about 3 weeks ago. We called Echo Ads before that. I've been going for just over 8 years now, generating leads. We've generated coming up to 260,000 leads in that time, all financial services. So probably about 80%, 75, 80% are going to be would have been mortgages or equity release, and the rest were pensions, financial advice, insurance, and the like as well. And that's how LeadCrowd was born, and that's why we're in this game. I'm very close to a lot of other lead partners this isn't just about LeadCrowd, by the way. This is about how you grow your own businesses and other lead partners. There are some good ones out there. Simply Online Leads are really good. Lead Tech are really good for pensions and whatnot as well. And they're all good. They're all regulated like we are. We're a regulated firm. That's a hybrid word. Technically, LeadCrowd is not regulated because we didn't want it to be, but it is overseen by Echo Finance, but from a regulation side, and all of our ads with Google are signed off by them as well. But that's how LeadCrowd was born, and that's what we're up to nowadays as well. What makes ourselves different? And this is definitely one of the key points that you've got to cover. And if you're looking at buying leads from other firms, you've got to ask lots and lots of questions, do your own research, do your own due diligence on them as well. From our side, our massive USP, without a doubt, is we're in this game. We have advisors who work these leads day in, day out. We know that they work, and we adjust our ad campaigns constantly for firms who we get feedback from. And we don't have contracts. The big thing with ourselves is we don't have contracts. We don't have minimum orders. We don't tie people in. If we're good and you do really well off our leads, you're going to buy more. And if you don't, then you're not going to buy any, are you? And that's absolutely fine. There are a lot of firms out there, some I've already mentioned, who will tie you into contracts, who will tie you into minimum orders. In my opinion, they do that for a reason. And that's because you're going to leave if after the first 10, 20, 30, but you can't. You've tied in for 100 and you've had to pay £5,000 up front for the leads. I really don't believe in that. I'm a big, strong believer if you are good enough, then you're going to buy more. Take this in the right breath, though. You have to take at least 30 to 50 leads to judge a lead provider, whether that's us or another firm as well, because you can't just go, I've had 4 and 2 didn't answer and the other 2 had already sorted it. That's not fair. You wouldn't expect that from your sales team. So you have to give it enough time with lead partners for it to average out, to give yourself a chance. And certainly with mortgages and even protection, equity release and financial advice, they can take months for it to become a sale. Thanks for your time. Call me back in a month when I've found the property. I'm interested in doing my pension review, but I need to give it's the summer holidays. Call me back in September. It can take time. You need to average out. And one of the worst things you can do is flip from lead partner to partner to partner, from us to another firm to another firm, and you don't get anything. But going back to the original point, the best leads you can get will always be your self-gens, your referrals, your existing customers, your friends, your family, that sort of stuff. But if you want to take your business to the next level, at some point, you've got to go into the world of leads, whether that's buying them from someone or doing it yourself. Because you could have your own website. You could speak to your own introducers. You could do all the Google ads work, all the meta work with Facebook and learn it all. And fair dues, I did it all. I had to understand it. And if you can do that, go for it. Absolutely. It's cheaper than buying leads sometimes. Not all the times, because we do it day in, day out. And so we think we've got our costings right. Probably cheaper than what a lot of people could do it for themselves. But then you don't have to have the hassle or time and effort that goes into doing it. You just do what you do, which is advising and selling. We'll do the lead gen, you do what you're going to. But you can do it yourself if you've got a good website, you've got the drive, the desire. Go on our website, we even tell people on there, you can do it yourself if you want to, because why not? And I'd suggest over time that a lot of people will attempt to do it, and there's no problem there whatsoever. What leads do we generate? So we generate financial services. That's all we do. Mortgages, equity release, pensions, IFAs, home insurance, life insurance, income protection, critical illness cover, commercial mortgages, bridging. Andy, have we missed any? I'm sure I have.
When it comes to mortgages, there's obviously adverse and buy-to-let.
That's a good one. Will writing, that's a new one that we just started doing as well. So we stick to financial services, and we do all, that's all we do because it's all we know, and we don't want to go into anything else other than that. And quite frankly, we're speaking to the Financial Planning Club, so we need to be talking about financial services there as well. So they're the leads that we generate. How do we do it? We do it 2 ways. We work with partners. We've been working with other lead partners and other websites for the last 2 years now. And we work with things like Online Mortgage Advisor as a really good example, or there's a really cool app called Sprive. It's where you can overpay your mortgage. And these firms either have an overflow of leads that they weren't selling, or they needed to sell the leads that they were generating. And again, I've been in this industry a long time. I speak to a lot of people. So they came to us and said, can you sell our leads for us? We're in essence their sales arm. Again, with no contracts, no minimum orders, etc. So we work with other firms other than ourselves to actually sell their leads to our firms, of which we have, over the last 8 years, we're just over 3,000 registered firms, and we generate between 200 and 500 leads a day. So people come to us for a reason, because we give them that distribution to you, the advisors, straight away. And we sell them for a set cost per lead. You know, typical costs, they're all over the website. Go to leadcrowd.com, big old pricing page, goes what people want to need when they want a website. They want to know what's it going to cost. But typically, mortgages, 25, 30 quid, pensions, 50, 60, equity release, 80 to 100, life insurance, 50 to 60 pound, that sort of mark. It's a good value, in other words. On the money, there are some cheaper firms out there, but they probably generate the leads from data or cold calling or email marketing. All of our leads come from websites, they're all hot leads, they're all exclusive, they're all real time. That's a big thing. Any partner we work with, the leads are real time, as in someone submitted a form there and then, and within a fraction of a second, it's been sold and it's over to you, and it's only you. There's a firm called Bark. And Bark will sell one lead to between 5 and 10 people, depending on the lead type, which is insane. The cost is a lot lower, but instantly you've got competition. I wouldn't suggest that. I would suggest putting your efforts into buying leads or generating them yourself and doing it yourself. So you've got that exclusivity. Don't get me wrong. When someone goes on our website, we can't stop them from going on somebody else's website after. So the quicker you call them, the better. And I'll come on to best practices in a minute. But equally, we can't stop them being on someone else's website before us. So the quicker you call them, the more likely they've made the inquiry on the phone. 80% of our inquiries are done on mobile devices. They're probably going to answer. Calling them straight away is really important, but we'll come on to practices in a minute. So yeah, we work with lead partners. They're all real-time leads. They're all exclusive. They have to be for them to partner with ourselves. No contracts, no minimum orders, all the stuff that I think you'd hopefully agree you'd want if you're going to be buying leads from a firm. So they're our partners. We also, and our main one, we have our own websites, and we generate leads from our websites, not our partners, from Google Ads. And this is key. We don't generate any leads from Meta, from Facebook or Instagram, or from TikTok or Snapchat or cold calling or emails or any of that crap. They are all Google search. And for me, Google search is, well, it's the big boy, isn't it, really? That's where everyone goes. Bing doesn't really exist in my world. It's not worth putting the effort into Bing, unless it's equity release, actually, because a lot of people who pick up Samsung phones and Android phones, they don't know how to turn the web browser and it's set to Bing. So we are considering getting into Bing for equity release leads, pure and simply for that market. They don't know how to change the web browser away from Bing. But Google Ads, we generate it. The whole reason that that's important is on Google, someone has to type something in before they see our website, before they see our ads. So when you go on Google and you type something in, the top 4, they usually say sponsored. And that's because someone's paying to have their website there. Or top 4, the bottom 3. There's a general rule. Google have done this continuous scroll thing recently where you don't have pages anymore. You just scroll down like on Instagram, but they've actually reverted back to pages because they haven't made as much money. They've lost money by doing that, basically. So moving back to pages is you'll start to see coming back out. But we pay for our websites to be in those top 4. For example, on mortgages, we have free mortgage websites. So at any point, we could have 3 of our sites on Google at the very top. But someone has to type something in. So in other words, the intent is there. It's a high intent lead because they're not on Facebook and they're not chatting to their friends, and they click on it because they might want to write a will next year, or they might want to start a pension next year. That's good for the lead generator as a lead. But as a lead buyer, the intent is not there right now. So we could be very, very much concentrated on Google because someone goes on, they type in compare equity release deals as an example. We're there, and the intent is there. The fact to physically type something in, to see our ads, to go on our website and to fill that form in. They press submit on that form within a fraction of a second. It's in your inbox. You get a text message and you've got a new lead. Done. And we call them PPC leads, pay-per-click leads, because that's how they're generated. The other type of leads from our partners, or we get some organic, we call them SEO leads. So we have PPC leads, where you're basically sponsoring ads on Google, or we have SEO leads, which is where they come from a partner for a set cost. They all work. They all work in different ways. They're all priced accordingly as well. They have to be, because people wouldn't buy them if they're not to go elsewhere. And yeah, they are the lead types and how we generate them, PPC and SEO.
Okay, so just on that, I just want to throw in my input just on like the keywords as well. So it's how we really focus and try and get the best quality come through. And it goes back to Lee's previous point about something being good for the lead generator, but not good for the client, which is where if we use the words such as like mortgage calculator as an example, it's a great word to use to get volume, but the quality isn't there. So for us as the generator, we use that as a negative keyword. So we don't show up when people search really, really low intent keywords just to make a couple of quid. It's not worth it for us to send you that type of inquiry because you're not going to get anywhere with it, or you'll get somewhere, but on a very, very low conversion rate. So it's that reviewing and updating and just keeping on top of keywords and just looking what's going on with the market as well, what's going on with the world, and adjusting keywords accordingly to really fit to get you that quality coming through.
I'll give you a really good example again, because of our advisors give us feedback internally. And so we were getting asked a lot recently about Dutch style mortgages. Some of you may well know what they are. I do now. We did our research and we added that as a keyword, and we add keywords constantly to allow us to appear on. And when you say keywords, the words that people type into Google that we want to show for. And so Andy's completely right. The word calculator is an awful keyword. You'll get brilliant content, you'll get loads of clicks, you won't get any inquiries. And if you do, people tire kicking. I don't want them for my staff, and you don't want them for your staff. And that keyword management is the hard part. That's what Andy and our team take care of day to day, reviewing keywords, setting keywords as negative keywords. And because you can waste a fortune with Google and Google pay-per-click in particular if people are clicking on things that you don't want, quite frankly. And so, as another example, if you just typed in compare mortgages, you'll probably never see our websites because it's an awful keyword. It's so generic and it's expensive. And we'll leave that to the money supermarkets of the world. More often not, to loss leader. They want you to get on their site and they'll flog you other stuff. But for us, high intent is what we're after. Quick question from someone's asking if we did inheritance tax planning leads. We don't do them in a minute, so I'm not on the website. We're open to suggestions for lead types, and that's why we've recently added will writing leads. That's why we're just about to launch estate agent leads as well, which is a really interesting one. And the other one was below market value leads, all financial services based. But if we're interested in things like inheritance tax planning, it does fall in line with will writing and estate planning. But my concern would be on something like, just give you an honest answer, is who goes onto Google and types in inheritance tax planning? In reality, they're probably going to go on Google and type in something to do with a will. So that's probably more will writing lead, which we do. So you probably want to buy will writing leads and then upsell towards the inheritance tax planning, family estate planning, whatever you want to do at that point, power of attorneys and whatnot as well.
Lee, can I just close off that outsourcing piece? Because obviously that was my experience previously, was buying leads through you. And you said it earlier, like advisors could go and set up their own websites, generate their own leads. But look what you've just demonstrated in probably 2 minutes, that I know you've got teams of people doing, is that keywording bit, the competition, what the consumer journey is, what they're asking, you're learning from that daily from your volume. So that's why, I'd always say to them, just go to somebody who does it best and who knows what they're doing. It's really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And some of that will make you laugh. Over the last 8 years, probably about 4 or 5 times, people have been buying leads from us. And the next thing you know, we see a new website appear on Google, and it's a replica of one of our own websites. And that's fine. Obviously, it's not fine. You want to build your own website, not copy one of ours. But that's the easy bit of building a website. The hard part is the Google AdWords management in the back end, because you can waste a fortune, and most importantly, waste a lot of time and as well as money as well. So yeah, if you're going to go into it, just be careful. But most people can do it if they've got the time and they really want to do it. Of course they can, no problem.
Yeah, that's it. But it goes against a little bit about what the Financial Planning Club's set up for, what you guys are set up for, and you used the words earlier. That's always my key statement. Keep advisors advising. Keep them in front of the clients rather than trying to do all the stuff in the background. That's where we can lighten the load, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I wrote a few things down, because we get asked certain questions quite a lot, and one of them is around our firm, our own directly authorized firm, and people often say to us, the leads you generate, how do we know you're not taking the best leads for your firm, and how do you know we're not getting the dud? I can promise you now, of the hundreds of leads we do every day, people test our websites constantly. Lead buyers in particular will put fake stuff through to see where it goes. We don't, for one, and you have to take my word on that one. You can do your own research and so on, because we never would. It's all system orientated and would have loads of complaints and whatever. But we haven't. We've been around for a while, so we know what we're doing. But equally, somebody said to me a while back, said, I don't want to buy leads from LeadCrowd or Echo Ads as it was then, because you're a directly authorized firm. And my response was a rather cheeky one of, would you rather a firm who didn't know how to generate the leads, who wasn't advising them, generate them for you? Because there are plenty of them out there, And I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole. I'd rather work with someone like us who knows how to generate the leads and how to work them as well. And that's why we don't hide it. And I think it's if anything, I think it's a positive for us that we work these leads ourselves as a directly authorized firm, because we have a vested interest in them. I suppose what I'm trying to say, but it always makes me laugh when people say that. But I understand why they're asking that question as well. Right, best lead handling practices. A really interesting one. It's all over our website. Go on there. There's useful guides. You can download stuff. We send guides out all the time on how to work these leads. And I'll read some of the bits. When you get a lead, call it straight away. You have to. If you are buying leads and you are out and about driving, or you're in a fact find, or you're speaking to clients, pause your leads. On our system, it's self-service. You can log on, turn on, pause your leads, log on, turn them off. It's all self-service. You can pre-automate it so they come on at 9 and turn off at 5, Monday to Friday, or off on a Friday, like a lot of people do. So you're not wasting your money buying leads when you can't call them. They need to be called straight away. It is an absolute non-negotiable. Don't buy leads if you're not able to do that. And because if you don't, they'll go on someone else's website to fill the form in. And then when you call them 2 hours later, and I've already sorted it. And then you come to me and Andy and go, oh, the lead I bought, they've already sorted it. It wasn't a real lead or wasn't real time. I go, it is. They always are. When did you call it? And we have a conversation about it's because you was doing something else. You couldn't call it straight away. It's absolutely imperative you call it. That's why they're real time and that's why they're exclusive. Yeah, it gives you that get in there first mentality. Now, if they don't answer, which does happen quite a lot, as you can imagine, leave a voicemail, send a follow-up email, send a text message, send a WhatsApp business message. So some good software that you might want to have your hands on. It's WhatsApp for Business. Don't use your personal WhatsApp. It looks unprofessional. Download WhatsApp for Business on your phone or to your computer. You can set up your business profile. It looks brilliant. You can have auto responses. WhatsApp for Business is an absolute must. Bear in mind, all of our leads come from website inquiries. Most people who can work on a website have WhatsApp. Don't be thinking, what happens if the client doesn't have WhatsApp? It's few and far between. WhatsApp, text messages, use a service like Text Local. Text Local has been around for a long time, good system. You can set up templates. You don't have to type it out every time. You literally log in, press send, and send them a text message. It's usually, hi, my name's Lee. You've just made a pension inquiry on one of our websites. Here's my telephone number. Call me back. Put your telephone number in there, put your email in there. So it's easy for them to click on and call you back straight away or send you an email, even if it's, I'm not interested. That's absolutely fine. If people pick up, send you an email, send you a text message or WhatsApp, I'm sorry, I'm no longer interested. Go back to them and ask, oh yeah, why is that? I can see you've only made the inquiry. I'm a whole of market advisor or whatever you want to tell them about yourself. Are you sure you wouldn't like a second opinion? Generally, I work on the free no's. We teach our staff to work on the free no rules, as in if they speak to someone and the client's on the phone saying, I was only messing around, I was only after rates. Absolute brilliant. We see that all the time. Great. Well, I'm a whole of market advisor. I'll be able to get that for you. So you've got 5 minutes of your time. What were you looking to do? No, seriously, I just wanted rates. What's your lowest rate? I understand what you're asking me, and I'll be able to give you that. I literally need a few minutes of your time. And that third no rule, third objection, says that I'm an advisor. I can't just give you a rate. It wouldn't be the right thing to do. If you want that, go on a website and do it yourself, and in which case it'll probably cost you more, and then move on from it at that point. But I'd rather someone pick up the phone and say, I'm not interested in us, be ringing them every day for a week. My preference. Always follow up with an email, text messages, Text Local, WhatsApp for Business, sending them an email, calling off your mobile, calling off a landline if you use a phone system like Circle Loop or Ring Central. We use Ring Central as a financial advice firm because it records all your calls. It's really good. It's like 25 quid a month or something. Circle Loop is a little bit cheaper, doesn't have as much tech behind it, but it's like £15 a month. So some good tech. You might look at Circle Loop or Ring Central for a phone line. Keeps your personal mobile separate to your work one as well, which is always really useful. So Ring Central and Circle Loop for phones, WhatsApp for Business, Text Local for emails. If they don't answer, call them back 15 minutes later. Don't leave it an hour or two to call them back. It's our sales process internally is we call them and we don't leave a voicemail on that first call. Because most people are what's the word? Inquisitive. And they'll Google your number like I do. If I see a number who's coming, I don't know it. Google it.
Totally do that.
Find out what it is. It's a really cool thing to do. You know, I don't want to speak to them or whatever. Just ignore them. But more often, they'll call it back and they'll say, I've just had a missed call. Great, you're into it. If you leave a voicemail on that first one, they may go, oh, I'm not interested in that. So I'd rather than ring up, say, I've just had a missed call from you. Great, you've got a chance to speak to them at that point. And probably on the second one, leave a voicemail 10, 15 minutes later. Depending on when the lead comes across. If it comes across in the morning, call straight away, call 15 minutes later, call them at 1 in the afternoon. Some people work 9 to 5. If they make an inquiry between 9 and 5, they're probably not working though. So, or they're slacking at work. So sometimes it's best to communicate with those people on WhatsApp for Business in the daytime because they can't take that phone call because they're at work. And it's really important not to feel that you're pestering someone. You've bought lead for 30, 50, 100 quid or whatever it is. Pester them. If they pick up the phone and say, stop calling me, say, no problem, when's a good time to call you back? And go into it that way. I'd rather someone tell us not to call them than just ignore you as well. And so calling people, chasing people, emailing people, texting people, WhatsApping Business, and the final one, probably do this on day 2, or day 3. It's calling off a withheld number, calling off a blocked number. 141 before you dial a landline or a mobile number, and it withholds it. On Ring Central, you can just hit call from withheld or call from blocked. It works. Promise you it works. Especially because on iPhones in particular, I think a lot of Samsungs, if you don't know the phone, you can just block it. So I can just block someone if I have a cold call or on speak to trying to con me, block. So they never get hold of me again. I don't doubt that people will do that on your number. So calling off or withheld, they can't block withheld numbers. So, but you have a legal right. Bear in mind, all these leads are opted in for consumer duty. So from a GDPR perspective, they're all compliant. They've all ticked the relevant box. They've all agreed to the terms. They've all agreed to be contacted. So if anyone ever threatens, please remove my details. Yeah, by all means, remove them. But these have all been opted in correctly. They're not email data list. They're not cold calling. These are people who've been on a form, filled it in. You're doing them. You're calling back because they've requested it. Even if they say, I didn't want to speak to anyone. Well, you've agreed to the terms and conditions. You've ticked the box to say you opted into this happening. So no problem. You get into it at that point. So that's the golden rule with leads. And whether that's our lead or anyone else's lead, even your existing customers, when they come around, you spoke to them 2 years ago, you did something to them. You're not just going to call them once and then give up, are you? You're going to call them back a week later or a few days later because you've got that relationship. It's no different when it comes to leads either as well. So
I can guarantee, Lee, you've just made some people feel really uncomfortable with that, but it's so true. It's a resilience game, and you circled back round there perfectly. That let's remember that you're only acting on something that person has done. So they have put an inquiry into a website, they have ticked a box, they have, they've made it clear that they want something. You're just trying to deliver on that. And the resilience factor comes in from, first of all, acting quickly so that somebody else doesn't get in there first, because they quite rightly could have put that in 2 or 3 different sites. But also, I think it stands out when there's a bit of grit about somebody to have an effort. I'll have done it sometimes going, come on then, let's have a conversation, because you've persisted and you're only trying to help. That's the business that we're in. We're trying to deliver a service. So yeah, resilience was always a key word I used with advisors and our teams when talking about leads and lead numbers. It's not just giving up after the first touch point.
Yeah, you have to almost force yourself to be comfortable with that. If you go on our website, LeadCrowd.com, go to guides, click on objection handling. It's called objection handling guides. We know, we've been doing this for 18 years, we know what people say when they pick up the phone and what their objection is. Remember, an objection is only an objection if they think of it first. So if you can get in there before they say it or have a response ready to go, I mean, there's about 20 in there. Go on it, they're not interested. I'm happy as I am. I have my own advisor. I only deal with the high street lenders. If they're a mortgage, I'm tied in. I've already found a deal. There's a response on the website, LeadCrowd.com. turn it into your own words. So don't bloody read what we put on there. That's just some examples that I wrote for that I teach our advisors. Put it into your personality and how you would go about overcoming them as well. So that's really important. And that's leads. That's how to handle them. That's how to work them. It's pretty simple. Just be persistent and work them. You paid for them. And final bit, most important bit as well. Sorry, also very important. If you can't get hold of him after a week, it's fair to say you're not going to get hold of him. We, just to be clear, honest, like every other lead provider, won't go, oh, you can have your money back. Because if we did that, everyone would apply for a refund on every single lead. We don't, no lead provider will give you money back for a no contact. We do for wrong numbers. We do loads of vetting on the forms, so they have to enter a number. A lot of our websites have SMS verification on, so we know the number's going to be correct as well. But if they don't answer, put them into your email marketing funnel. Whatever the lead type is, whether it's mortgages or pensions or equity leads for life, whatever it is, have an email marketing. Use a system like Brevo. Brevo used to be called Sendinblue. It's called Brevo now. There's MailChimp, who are a really good email system, but they're a bit funny about financial services, so that's why we stopped using them, and a lot of people did. But Brevo are particularly good, and I've done my research. They have good value for money as well, better than MailChimp and better than, I think it's Twilio is the other one, who are quite big. Twilio. Brevo, I like them, BREVO. They're a good email marketing system for your clients, not transactional stuff that you send day in, day out. That's more CRM stuff. This is email marketing. You just send them a monthly newsletter. They've all opted into it and they can all opt out, and you can prove for GDPR and for all compliance that they've been opted in correctly. So you covered off on all of that points as well. All that being said, I will talk about firm that Amanda mentioned at the beginning. If you don't want to work these leads yourself, if you've got advisors and you want someone else to call the leads and book them in for appointments, there are appointment booking firms out there. I know Amanda's partnered with a firm called DSL, DSL Digital. We use that. My firm uses it. We use them because we have some advisors who see clients face to face, and they don't want to be calling leads. They want to drive and see people. So we use DSL Digital. We use a firm called A-Point as well. A-Point and DSL Digital are the two main ones that I have. And they do all financial services lead types. So it's not just mortgages or equity, it's pensions and whatever. And they'll call the leads, and they have all these processes in place to chase them. You have to pay for it. For every appointment that book, whether it's a phone call or a video call or a face-to-face, the cost increases depending on which it is. Have a conversation with them, and they'll do all the legwork. They'll do all the cold call, the calling of the leads to get hold of them, to booking them in for an appointment for you. People still cancel them. They'll book in a video call for you or telephone call and don't answer. Get back onto them and say they didn't answer, and they'll let them chase again, because that's just life. And stuff happens and people forget. People ignore them. They change their mind and so on as well. I saw a question a minute ago.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to know that it was a question around the different billing on our website. So really simple. SEO leads, set cost. And it works on a bidding system. So I'll give you an example. Mortgages start at 30 or 25, actually, 30, depending on whether it's a purchase or a remortgage. Some people want to bid 26, and it goes in pound increments. Whoever's bidding the most when it comes and gets it. It's pretty simple, really. And it's a bidding system, just like eBay. Mondays are busy. A lot of people will bid loads on a Monday. So quick tip: don't buy leads on a Monday unless you just want to go crazy, and just set your costs and leave it at that. People will outbid you. They'll let them spend their money, and then all of a sudden they spend their budget, and then you're top bidding. So be clever with your money. PPC leads are the ones where we sponsor on the ads. They build different. The way our system bills you is whatever we spend on Google on advertising, you pay for, just like you would if you were to do it yourself. Clearly, we do all the management and everything as well. But for every lead that we generate, we add a little bit on top. So, for example, if a remortgage lead is £35 on a SEO, on a PPC, where you can be location specific, so you can go, I want to target these postcodes in my area, which is a really cool feature. You pay for the advertising, which for a mortgage is around £15 in advertising per lead, and we'll add £10 to £15 on top, depending if it's a purchase or remortgage. Similar price, just billed differently, in all honesty. The PPC ones allow you to be location specific, and you can be postcodes, you can choose counties, countries, you can do all of England, all Wales, UK, or you can do what's called a radius. Where you pinpoint where you are and just puts a lovely big circle around your radius, and it will target people in the area. Be careful if you live in, well, Andy and I grew up in Cleethorpes. And if we put a radius in Cleethorpes, then we're covering the other side of the Humber up into Hull, which is a miles, long way away. A bit like if you live in some parts of Cornwall. If you put a big radius, you'll be covering South Wales. So be careful on using radius because it can cause you some issues. But generally, most people do postcodes, most people do counties. And that's the difference. PPC allows you to be a lot more specific around what you're after. SEO and nationwide only. They're slightly cheaper sometimes. The volumes are good, but they're nationwide. So depending on what your preference is, usually it's all explained on the website. Myself or Andy will no doubt speak to you at some point of our team. Definitely worthwhile speaking to them and doing what's best for yourself. Right, got some questions coming in, so let me just get to them. Yeah, so WhatsApp for business, as we said, text local, Brevo for emails, covered off what PPC means.
Just a reminder, Lee, at what point did you suggest to do the WhatsApp? When
I would always call first.
Yeah.
You need to speak to them. And if they don't answer, call back 15 minutes later, leave a voicemail, send a text message or a business WhatsApp. Honestly, WhatsApp for business was a game changer when it came out, pure and simply because it allowed our advisors to keep their personal WhatsApp separate. You don't want to be doing that. And you can have it on your desktop, keeps it separate. But you can have your business profile on there, your website, your logo, your opening times. If someone messages you outside of your working hours, you can have an auto response, which is really professional, and you should be using it. And again, text messages have to come from phones or text local, and it's a backup, I think. Text messages are probably better for the equity release clients. I am proper stereotyping here, the older people. But WhatsApp for business is a really, really cool one. Brevo for emails. Someone said, what information do you get on pension leads? What kind of info do you get? So on a pension lead, on all leads, you get name, at least one contact number, which depending on the website is SMS verified. So that's where they get sent a code and they have to enter it for the lead to go through. Good quality, as you can imagine. You get an email and you get the postcode. So you get all the contact details. On a pension, you also get a little bit more information. You get what they're looking to do. So, for example, you'll get whether it's a drawdown, there's about 20 of them, annuities, auto enrollment, company pension, defined benefit, final salary, advice, consolidation, drawdown, pension mergers, options, plans, releases, transfer schemes. There's loads of different, basically you have a bit of an idea of what you want to do. You get when they're looking to retire. The big one, the most important one, is what their pension pot value is as well. Yeah, because clearly you want that to be higher. Just on pensions, it's worthwhile mentioning this. I was like talking about other firms, got no problem doing that. There's a firm called LeadTech who provide pension leads, and they're really good. And I speak to them quite a lot. Nigel and the guys over there, they're more expensive on pension leads because they say, yeah, if you want 100 grand plus on a pension pot, we'll do it. It's £200 a lead. From our side, you're going to pay the same, regardless if it's 20 grand, 50 grand, £1 million pension pot. Doesn't matter, you pay exactly the same per lead. But if the average cost is, let's say, £50 to £60 for a pension lead with ourselves, I'd rather you get 3 or 4 pension leads for the price of one. Because in essence, on ones where they filter out the lower balances, you're paying for the ones that they're generating because they are generating the lower pots, but you're just not having them. So I'd rather you have them. I'd rather you go into your marketing material, into your emails. And also, people make mistakes when they fill in forms. They click on the first box where it says, I've got 20 grand or under. What they meant is they've got 2 million or over. They don't know. They've just filled it in. But on our forms, we also ask the question, how can we help you? So they often put a little bit of they've got to enter 25 characters around what they're looking to do. And so again, it gives you that confidence that it's a real lead. They want to do something. One thing that we do compared to that no one else does, as far as I'm aware, is we give you the IP address of the person who made the inquiry. So you can be sure that it's not someone's, me and Andy aren't sat there with a phone book out, entering names and numbers. Obviously, people think that you can do that, but he could do it if we wanted to. We'd get found out. People wouldn't buy these. We get bad reviews. We wouldn't be here 8 years later. We don't do that. Any firm that worth the salt, who are good, would never do that. There are firms who are not good, who you need to do your due diligence. When was the company set up? Where are they based? That's a really, really good one. Where are they based? How do they generate their leads? These are all your due diligence questions that you want to be asking before you start buying leads from a firm.
Just on that information point, Lee, obviously you're only as well getting the information that they give you. And just to clarify on that question, you only get that once you've purchased the lead, don't you? You don't get, yeah. But also it's what you find when you then start talking to that person. They've gone in there with a single mindset of, okay, I need a mortgage. I'm going to put my details into this site to speak to a mortgage advisor. Then you find they need a protection. Then you find they might need a pension. It's what else comes from those conversations, isn't it? It's not just what they're putting in front and centre.
Yeah, you want to cross-sell as much as you can, but absolutely, it goes without saying. There are some firms out there, I won't name them, why not? Unbiased. You have to pay a monthly fee, and then you buy your credits and all that sort of stuff. They're good. They used to be really good. But they're expensive. And I think you're tied into contracts, you're tied into monthly agreements and stuff. And I don't know, I think there were some good firms out there, so there's some okay firms out there. I think you just need to do due diligence on the firms that you're working with, what they're good at, what they're not good at, how long they've been around is also a key one. Referrals. If you go on the Facebook forums and the Cherry forums and all these ones that you may have heard of, just to be clear, nobody likes lead gen. I get it. I understand we're all con artists in everyone's mind, but we're not all. Absolutely. The lead conversions, that was my last point.
Yeah.
What can you expect as a conversion rate? The number one question we get asked is, what's your conversion rate? And Andy and I throw it back. We go, well, actually, it comes down to you. How quickly you can call the lead, how many times you can call it, what's your sales process, how good you are on the phone at overcoming objections. But what I can tell you, compared to a lot of other firms, is my advisors work these firms, and I know that if I'm being honest now, if I buy 100 leads from an advisor in a month, I'm expecting 8 to 10 completions. That sort of ballpark figure. I don't doubt that there are some other firms out there who will state higher conversion rates. They may well do more pre-vetting. The leads may be more expensive. They may have people telemarketing, doing hotkeys into them. But for web-generated leads, real-time exclusive web leads from websites, my advisors convert between 8 and 10%. Sometimes they do more, some months, absolutely. Sometimes people, like August was actually a busy month. It's usually a quiet month. December, it will die down. We won't get hold as many people. January and September are our busiest months of the year because people want to get stuff sorted after Christmas and more before Christmas. Conversions go up, contact rates go up. From a contact rate point of view, you should be at the 70 to 80% mark, as in someone picking up the phone and speaking to you, which is really good, by the way. But from a conversion point of view, I think realistically 8 to 10%. It does depend on the lead type as well. I'm talking all the financial services that my advisors work, which is mortgages, equity release, life insurance, income protection, home insurance, wills as well, do them. I don't do pensions as a financial advice firm. We don't do them, but we partner with St. James's Place. We sell tons of leads to them and their advisors. And they do really well off them. They're similar conversions, by the way. That's why I always say that 8 to 10, maybe to 15% mark. But again, that's going to be loads lower than self-gens, isn't it? Then your own introducers that you can get if you want to put the effort into that. But there comes a point where you have to get into the world of generating leads and going after the clients who you don't know. And so being honest with everyone, we always got to be honest because you'll only see this when you buy the leads. I think you should be looking at, but give it time for that to happen. In that first month, you might buy 30 leads and get 2 sales. Just under 10%, it's not too bad. The following month, those people who you were speaking to the month before come back to you and then they convert. So not only do you have to buy a certain amount of leads to let it average out, you need to give it time for people to come back to you, to convert. How good is your email marketing afterwards? How long do you chase them for? Do you call them again in a month's time because they might have been on holiday for 2 weeks and you give up after a week? There's a lot of variables in there that are very company or user firm specific.
There's a bit about understanding your value of your client as well, isn't it? So we talk about lifetime value. So what's that client going to bring you in their lifetime, which helps you get a little bit more comfortable sometimes that you've got to buy 30 leads because you're going to get your money back. So I'd be encouraging anybody buying leads. We always had a calculator similar. We did the 10 leads, we'd speak to 5, you'd probably convert one of those. But I knew that that one of them would bring us about a case value of about £1,500 to £2,000. So I'd then paid for my 10 leads for that one client. So I think that's a really valuable process for advisors to walk through to get comfortable with that upfront lead spend. And then the second part, and I wrote it down really early when you said it before, but that nurturing piece. You have bought that lead, you have bought that piece of data, you are within your rights to put that on a marketing list and keep them front and center, even if they've gone elsewhere. Who knows what happens in the future? Who knows where their needs change? So you could nurture, and that lead, we've seen it. We've seen leads come back to us 6, 10 months, 12 months down the line, and people tend to write it off if it's a no right now, whereas there is a long game to it, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to, like Lee was saying, around 8 to 10%. And I would say that's probably over like quite a short term, I would say. And obviously, the longer you're taking leads, the biggest thing really to really increase conversions is consistency of taking leads. And that's basically it. Just the consistency and working them.
Thought about it, didn't we? Don't keep turning the tap on and off.
Yeah, it's
find your supplier and keep that constant trickle coming through. And you've mentioned it, take the other sources, have them all complementing each other, so that when one drops off, you know, you can maybe dial up your purchase leads, but you've still got them in the background all the time.
Yeah, and it's one of the most common conversations I really have is feast and famine. That's a lot of my conversations. I'll get a phone call, they'll go, Andy, I've got nothing coming in. I need all you've got, basically. And then they'll phone me a week later, go, Andy, turn them off. I've got too many. And then it's just like, instead of taking, say, 10, 15 leads a day in like a really short burst, take 2, 3 leads a day. Take them consistently, and you'll get out of that feast and famine mode. And then essentially lead generation starts to take care of itself.
Yeah.
Writing enough business from it, it pays for the next batch of leads, it gives you what you need out of it, and then it's just a cycle, really, instead of pick up, put down, pick up, put down, because that is when you're getting that feast and famine, and it's not a nice position to be in. So taking a lower number of leads over a longer period of time, you're spending the same amount of money, you haven't got the stress levels of having too much work or no work, and then it balances itself out and it just looks after itself, really. And yeah, consistency really is what it works in.
Ryan had a question around IFA leads, and do we mean IFA strictly speaking, or can restricted advisors use the service? Absolutely, Ryan. Restricted advisors, IFAs can use the service. It's just the terminology. So people wouldn't go onto Google and type in buy restricted advisor leads, but they would type in IFA leads. So you don't need to be an IFA to necessarily work IFA leads. As long as you, when you're speaking to the client, you lay out your terms of business, you lay out what your restrictions are and what your level of service is, and who you're going to be looking at via your terms of business or IDDs or whatever you want to call it. As long as you cover that off, then it's absolutely fine. Hope that helps. Any other questions? Anybody want to put anything in the Q&A in the chat? Feel free to ask anyone. We really want to keep this within an hour, which I think we've just about achieved.
I know, amazing work.
Almost like we planned it.
We did. So, oh my gosh, am I sharing my teams there? That's not good, is it? I'm destined not to be able to share this PowerPoint. I'm going to put the contact details up. So I think we've gone through all the questions. You've answered mine as well as we've gone. I'm going to pop the contact details up now. Am I? Yes, no, maybe. Are we there?
Yeah, we can see them.
Fabulous.
No,
Shall I pop it back? Gosh, you know, I have a term at home. It's called I have other skills. Clearly putting PowerPoint slides up is not mine this morning.
Feel free to find myself or Andy or Amanda for that matter on LinkedIn. We're always on there answering questions. It's a really good place to get quick answers, just like the chat, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And also, we've got a promo code to give everyone who's interested as well. So we'll get that over to Amanda, and then she'll fire it out in an email to you as well. And that'll just give you a discount on your leads until the end of this month, if you was keen just to give it a bit of a taster, really, and take a decent trial.
Yeah, love that. So we will, from the Financial Planning Club, we will share out the recording from today. You'll have to excuse the people watching the recording of my tech issues, but we will share that out. We will share the promo code as the guys have suggested. You've obviously got the websites for both companies there, the Financial Planning Club and LeadCrowd. So thank you this morning for everybody who has joined us. If you're on the recording, thanks for watching. And we hope to see you again soon on another Financial Planning Club webinar. Have an awesome rest of the day and a good weekend ahead. And thanks, gents. Thanks so much. It's been great. We probably could have carried on for another hour.
Oh, easy.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, and speak to you soon.
See you soon.
Cheers, then. Bye-bye.
Bye.